I was born and raised in Melbourne. We were a sort of middle-class family, so there wasn't an abundance of money, but an abundance of love, which I think is the most important thing. I've been building businesses since as long as I can remember. I've always found it really enjoyable. I found it really satisfying. I think it's a different thing now, where rather than building a business just for the sake of building business, building sustainable concepts, building things that help the world move forward. They're the business people that I look up to, and that's the kind of impact that I hope we get to have. One of the biggest challenges I think that people have is that they would do the right thing by the environment if they knew it was easy to do. And I didn't know at the time. So as soon as I did know and saw there was a gap in the market, it turns out that we'd hit upon something that was really important to a lot of people. The solar business started in 2014. I was working in America and I was working with some very smart technologists, and they were talking about some of the ways that they could impact the world, and solar was the thing that they were developing. So we got really involved in that. We started a company in New York. Once we saw that that was working and it made a lot of sense, we saw that we were making a difference. We thought, let's test this idea out in Australia. How can we make this work? We've got plenty of sun. And one thing led to another, and eventually here we were.
On Dave's first day in New York City, I met him. By the next day, I was giving him my Netflix password, so that's basically an engagement. And within a few months, we knew that we wanted to be together, and so I moved to Melbourne a few months later, and that was already 6 years ago. I think the reason why people should work with us at the Solar Power Co. is because we are open to having the conversations with you to educate you first. It's not about the sale, it's not about who you purchase solar from. We want to educate you so you can then take that messaging onwards, whether that's to the next generation, to your children, to your neighbor, to your business, to your community. As long as you know about your impact, the small impact that you can make, that has a large effect on the earth that we live on, that's all that matters to us at the end of the day. I think that since having our own child, the philanthropy of the business has really expanded threefold. We started working with Kids Teaching Kids this last year, and it's so important focusing on the next generation. We have to build a planet that our kids can live on and our kids' kids can live on. So it was really just a no-brainer to team up with Kids Teaching Kids.
I've been involved with Kids Teaching Kids for 20 years, so 2 decades. And I actually founded Kids Teaching Kids with my father, who was a primary school principal. Look, I think the main drivers in setting up Kids Teaching Kids was that I saw our natural environment was in a bit of trouble even back then. But what I also saw was that young people didn't really have a voice. So there was lots of adults in, suits up in Canberra making decisions about their future, and I really wanted to see young people take charge of their environmental future, learn about these issues which are so important to, breathing clean air, drinking clean water, sustainable agriculture. So that's why Kids Teaching Kids came about, so that kids can teach each other about really important environmental issues and then take action to a more sustainable future.
A huge chunk of our business is in that education and advocacy. Just last year we spent more than 300 hours in charitable time with the team, and that's not only important for our business model, because we really need people on board. We need the kids at schools that we're talking to be the leaders of tomorrow driving this technology. We need the business owners of unused warehouse space to be looking at their roof saying, that's some real estate that can help my community. Really educating people not only about what the solutions look like today, but what the future of technology and solar and renewable energy looks like.
Over the last year, Dave and the guys have actually been the national sponsor. So they've allowed 400 schools across Australia to take part in the Kids Teaching Kids program, provided grants to schools, teacher relief funding so that teachers can get involved. And I think one of the great things about having a solar power company supporting the Kids Teaching Kids program is you've got a sponsor, a partner which is believing in the same ethos of Kids Teaching Kids, that we can have a better future, we can have a more sustainable future, but that doesn't mean losing things. It can actually mean jobs, it can mean regional towns taking advantage of the way our energy is changing. So having those guys on board has been fantastic.
It's really easy a lot of the time for us to forget what kind of impact as an individual we have. So the bigger the problem you see on the news, the more you think someone else is going to sort that out. I think you have to get to a certain point in life where you realise if you don't do something, then who are you really relying on? You know, our team could go out and get a job, probably far better paid in lots of other places, but this is the meaningful work that we were sort of put on the planet to do, and that's really important for us. And I think that's what I've created my life around right now, just doing things that make me happy and I think they're important.
The plan for us in the future is to continue making great partnerships like the Kids Teaching Kids, working within all of Australia.
Still to come on Industry Leaders, an award-winning organisation where the employees are encouraged to become leaders in their industry and leaders in self-management. CMTP's founder, Chris Mead, also rewards and supports positive leadership and calculated risk-taking.